So Peter McNichol, who played the ghost nanny, we got to meet him. Particularly, he was interested in seeing what we were making a puppet of him.
Yeah, yeah.
Bill Murray and Ivan Reitman came up to do some shots. Bill Murray threw an impromptu party one night. He bought beer for everybody, and we had a party on the stage. And then Indiana Jones Last Crusade, Harrison Ford came up for some shots, and I got to meet him.
Yeah.
And then, if we went on location, of course, for the shoot, like I did for the prequels, then we met everybody.
What did you do with Indiana Jones, The Last Crusade?
Mainly, I was working on the Donovan's Destruction, the guy that drinks from the wrong rail. So we had built there was a small crew of us, I think about 6 people, that had made this puppet that was mounted on a motion control system, so it could make all its movements. It was all mechanical to make all its movements of thrashing around and doing this, and could be completely repeatable. My job on it was to do all the vacuum suction. So they did it in 3 phases. They had 3 heads. One that was kind of somewhat normal looking, that went to a second stage version. And then we swapped out heads, and that took it from that version, a little bit more skeletal, to the next stage. And then that third stage was essentially a skull with plastic on it that was heated up and shriveled up. And they filmed all 3 of those in succession, and then they morphed them all together and made them all look like one seamless shot. So my job on it was there was a vacuum pulls on the face to suck the cheeks in, suck the eyeballs, and that sort of thing in each of the phases of the head. So I worked on that, and then I did a couple of insert shots. I'm Indiana Jones in one shot when Hitler signs the Grail diary. There's a body in the background of that. That's me as Indiana Jones. I also puppeteer the snake that pops out and scares River Phoenix at the beginning of the film. But it wasn't River Phoenix. It was just an insert shot. It was one of the local employees.
Yeah.
And so the snake popping out of the water, that I worked on that. So.
Yeah. So, I mean, just it sounds like a lot of fun. Lots of people getting together to create something pretty exciting. Yeah. So from Indiana Jones and Ghostbusters 2, which is another favorite. What did you do on Ghostbusters 2?
That was done simultaneously with Indiana Jones Last Crusade, and they had a huge crew of doing creature work mainly and some model shots. But because everyone was staffed up, they needed a shot of the ghost nanny flying through the sky to go pick up the baby and at the top of the building. And so we made a puppet. And I worked with actually a relatively famous stop motion animator that's since passed away, a guy named Dave Allen. He headed up that crew.
Yeah.
And it was a puppet that was all rod activated. The model shop made a pram that the puppet was pushing, and we shot it on a motion control stage. But we didn't shoot it in motion control; we just shot it with a regular camera, and we were all puppeteering it, with rods making its head move and like it's flying around. We had string on the cape to make it, flutter in the wind. And so that was mainly that. I also did some time puppeteering some slime in the Slime River that was underneath New York City. There's a couple other things I think I worked on, just helping out, here and there if they needed something. So.
Yeah. How did you create the Slime River?
Well, I didn't work on that directly. Like I said, they had little things in there to stick up. But the slime was actually made of methicillin, which is a food thickener. It's, a lot of fast food places use it to thicken their milkshakes.
Gotcha.
Actually, they don't call them milkshakes. They call them shakes, I think, because there's no milk in them. And it's a food thickener. you heat it, it's a powder, you heat it up and mix it together, and then you could put it into food, and it creates this goopy mixture, very slippery. So
Yeah.
so they were making vats and vats of that stuff, and so that it could pour down and flow through the miniature set that they made.
Yeah.
They put paint dyes in it. They put pearlescent paint dyes in it so that it would have a glimmering. And then they had lit it from underneath. Years later, for episode 3, Mustafar, the lava flows and stuff was made the same way. It was with methazone and lit from beneath to make it look like lava.
Yeah. No. And so when you're, I don't know the mechanics of these sorts of things, but did you have much opportunity at all to meet the actors when they were working on these different films?
Earlier on, and occasionally, yeah, we would. Like for Fly, Jeff Goldblum came in to do his life cast, so I got to meet him. But they shot the movie on location in Toronto, and I didn't go on location. And when we were working at ILM, mainly we were, we only did our work there. And unless the actors had to come up specifically to shoot blue screen, because at the time we had one of the largest blue screens in the country, I think in the world possibly. And so they would fly the actors up to do their blue screen shots at ILM. So Peter McNichol, who played the Ghost Nanny, we got to meet him. Particularly, he was interested in seeing what we were making a puppet of him.
Yeah.
Bill Murray and Ivan Reitman came up to do some shots. Bill Murray threw an impromptu party one night. He bought beer for everybody, and we had a party on the stage. And then on Indiana Jones Last Crusade, Harrison Ford came up for some shots, and I got to meet him.
Yeah.
And then, if you went on location, of course, for the shoot, like I did for the prequels, then we met everybody,
Yeah, that's awesome. Bill Murray is on my wish list of people to meet or have a chat to. I have thrown a couple of random messages in his direction and this might just be a myth, I don't know, but I had heard that he either has a postal address or an email address that is open for people to directly contact him with, ideas or movies that they might have or scripts and things like that. And if you get really lucky, then maybe he takes a shine to whatever you've got. Now, is he a naturally kind of funny, wacky sort of guy, or is that just he's been typecast into those sorts of roles?
I only saw him for that one evening. He was pretty normal, but he was, pretty gregarious. He was, he kind of like, just, hey, let's have a party in here. And he got one of the PAs to come over, handed him a bunch of cash and said, go out and buy a bunch of beer. I remember it was pouring rain that night. And it was really, really horrible outside, but we were all inside having a good time. And so brought some radio. So he was very friendly. He was very outgoing. Other actors, I got to work with Robin Williams, really, really sweet guy.
Wow.
Very, very funny. Could be very funny. Could be very serious too. He was a moody. He just, he was not always on, but very, 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 very nice. And the entire cast of Star Wars films that I worked on was great. Everyone was really good there. So.
Yeah.